A robot that chats with you, dances like a pro, and even mixes your favorite cocktail. No, it's no longer science fiction. It's actually Tesla's Optimus robot. On October 10th, Tesla unveiled a load of groundbreaking technologies at the Robot event. But today we're going to zoom in on the hidden star of that show, Optimus. Because it isn't just another robot, it is a glimpse into the future where AI-powered robots change our lives very, very significantly. And maybe you think a dancing robot or one that mixes a cocktail with some human help behind, which was definitely still there. Well, give me a few minutes and you're about to find out why it's going to have a massive impact. Job markets, Tesla's stock price, a lot of things that really are going to matter. Now, speaking of the stock price, if you look at it on this chart here, it's been, well, it had that lovely rally 2020, 2021, and it hasn't really done very much since, right? And that's true, actually. If you go into 2020, this here in November was the last big breakout at about $120. Now, we're going to get another one of those. And some people will be able to spot it before it happens. Most people will be too late and they'll buy at the top and then they'll lose money and they get very frustrated. If you want to learn how to spot that breakout, because there are rules to it, literally rules to it. And if you know what those 4 things are that make a breakout, you will never miss one again. And I've made a masterclass for you, 35 minutes, and you can watch it for free. And I will have it up for maybe another week or 2. If you watch the video, you'll understand why I might take it down. And go to felixprehn.com/get-free. Watch it after this video, obviously, because you wouldn't want to miss out on this. And then you will be able to spot those breakouts yourself too. So let's get back to Tesla. Now, the market's reaction wasn't exactly a standing ovation, right? Tesla stock took a 10% tumble after the event and it hasn't really recovered yet as I'm recording this. And if you've been zooming out a bit, and we just did that here, the stock's been on quite a roller coaster. And before we panic, let's turn to our resident Wall Street wizard, Dan Ives. Ives, the managing director of equity research at Wedbush, isn't just bullish on Tesla, he's basically shouting it from the rooftops. In his words, you walk away from there more bullish, not less bullish. It's kind of enthusiastic. Why is the market not following suit? Well, Ives isn't excited about the present. He's excited about the future. He believes that the next few years, you'll start to see robots in-house. Imagine that, a robot helping you with your chores while you sip your morning tea. And despite the disappointing results on the stock market, Ives has slapped a $300 price target on Tesla, which is significantly above the sort of 220 where it's hanging around right now. So why is Ives so bullish when the market seems skeptical? Well, he's not just seeing Tesla as that car company that is right now, he's viewing it as a tech powerhouse. His words, our bullish thesis on Tesla, it's not just pure EV. We viewed it as disruptive tech, AI, FSD, robotics. EV is the core, just like Apple's, not a hardware smartphone player, it's the ecosystem. So Ives sees the future, not the present, but what does it mean for Optimus and the potential? Because if Ives is right, we might be on the cusp of a robot revolution, not an industrial revolution or the .com internet revolution or the AI revolution, but a robot revolution. Well, Elon Musk, who is never one to shy away from bold predictions, has declared that Optimus will be the biggest product ever. That's quite a statement from a man who revolutionized cars and space travel and quite a lot of other things. But what can it actually do? Well, Optimus showed off its ability to communicate in real time with attendees, answering questions within seconds. So it can walk, it can talk, it has access to AI. We saw it handling packages with care. It performed synchronized dancing and even playing rock, paper, scissors. Now, you might think that sounds wonderful, but how much is it going to cost? Who can actually afford one of these? Well, the initial price estimates put the price between $50,000 to $70,000. But Tesla aims to bring that down to $20,000 to $30,000. That is less than some luxury watches. That's less than most cars out there. And Tesla's plan is to use Optimus internally at first, giving it a chance to prove its mettle in their own factories and also make it better. So how long is this going to take? Well, Tesla has managed to create this mechanical marvel in less than 3 years. Remember 3 years ago? There was a guy on a stage in a suit. He was wearing a robot suit. And We now have Optimus Generation 2, just 8 months after Generation 1. So we might get to Generation 10 before the end of this video. Tesla is pushing this very, very hard. They're aiming to start selling these by the end of 2025, with initial deployments being internal before they unleash that to the world. Now, Elon has a history of making bold predictions, and that's one of the reasons that he achieves so much. But unless you have a bold, tight deadline, well, it's going to take you as long as you allow for it, right? That's a pretty much a golden rule out there. But there's still some challenges. It struggles on uneven terrain. Battery life is an issue. And there were definitely some tasks that we saw at the event where they admitted that there were still humans behind that. I think the sort of beer pouring and stuff like that, there were still people behind that. But you see, all you've got to do is actually make the robot do it once with a human in control, and then it'll learn those movements and it'll understand those movements. And thanks to AI, it'll be able to replicate those movements in the future. But there are skeptics, lots of them. My YouTube comments are full of Tesla skeptics right now. So why am I not one of the skeptics? Well, Colossus is the answer. It's Tesla's supercomputer. It would take 3 to 4 years for most people to build a supercomputer like that, according to NVIDIA. Tesla's team whipped up Colossus in just 122 days. Jensen Huang called Tesla's engineering teams extraordinary in one of his most recent interviews. xAI has also released Grok 2 in August 2024, and Grok 3 is hot on its heels, expected to be launched in December. So they're upgrading their AI faster than I upgrade my phone, which actually probably needs upgrading, I think, given all the cracks on its screen. So what does all that mean for Optimus? Well, if we could cram all that computational power in AI smarts into a robot, we might see an Optimus that not only moves more gracefully, but also understands and interacts with its environment in ways that current robots cannot. I think the key to making it work is immense computational power, and nobody has a computer faster at present than Tesla. So we might not see that fully autonomous do-it-all Optimus by 2025. It could very well be that we see a robot that's, well, decent, but maybe more suited to factory type tasks, repetitive things, and maybe not quite suitable to let loose on your children or golden retriever yet. But while healthy skepticism is warranted, if you look at Tesla's track record, yes, it might take a little bit longer, but they do get there. They really do. So what would the future look like with Optimus being as common as smartphones? Well, the applications are actually mind-boggling. Imagine you come home after a long day, your Optimus has walked the dog, which I think actually is a little cruel. I think dogs should be walked by humans because they love the engagement. They don't just want to be outside, although it is better than not walking them. It might have tutored the kids, which, again, you might say a human would be better, but from a teaching point of view, there's still some benefit in that. They might have whipped up a gourmet dinner. So you got basically a personal assistant, a nanny, and a chef all rolled into one. That's basically what my life's like. It really is. Anyway, Winston is not so keen on the robots walking him. He said, "Bring me a few more golden retrievers and we'll do it on our own." So it's going to make lives easier, but it could also change healthcare, assisting in hospitals, care facilities. Imagine a tireless helper that can monitor patients 24/7, lift them safely. That's a big problem in hospitals. Assist in surgeries, an extra pair of hands wherever you need one. And in manufacturing and warehouses, Optimus could do all those repetitive, physically demanding tasks that often lead to injuries and might be dangerous because, well, the Optimus doesn't get tired. Well, it needs to get charged. It never complains about overtime, and it always shows up on a Monday morning with a smile. Actually, it never leaves. So employers are going to love these, right? What about construction sites, agricultural fields, disaster response, other hazardous environments? Optimus could go where humans fear to tread. What about clearing mined areas after wars are over? All that stuff. Go down a mine shaft and look for people who were lost, dig them out. So sounds wonderful, but what about our jobs, right? And yes, you're right to be concerned. Some reports suggest we could see up to 12 million jobs displaced. I saw one from, I think it was Goldman Sachs a while back, that said we might see 150 million jobs displaced. And that's a number that's pretty significant. But it isn't all doom and gloom, you see. Many jobs won't disappear, they'll just transform. So we might see a shift from doing tasks to supervising robots, maintaining them, programming them. And yeah, there will be people who are not equipped to do that. And truck drivers, people working in warehouses. If you are working in HR and you're typing in, repetitive data, all those jobs will disappear. And if you are in that role, you can sit there and go, it's terrible. I'm going to try and stop it, like certain unions are. I shan't mention, the guys in the US ports. But they're fighting a losing battle because technology has always won. The people who were making threads from wool in whenever it was that the steam engine came around, well, they didn't win that battle because they were more expensive, took longer, and therefore they went out of business. And that's going to happen again. So if you are in that position where you're scared of that, or you have people in your life who might be scared of that, do something about it. Learn another skill. Just learn to manage your money. That might be a thing to do. I think we're going to get a universal wage, so everyone's going to get paid something. I think that's going to make people very depressed because I don't have to work, right? I retired and then I invest and I trade and I got a bit bored, I got a bit lonely. So I, during COVID, started making YouTube videos and now I'm no longer bored, I'm no longer lonely, and I've got loads of amazing people around me, and it's fantastic because humans crave interaction, engagement, and we need some level of satisfaction. We need to feel like we're achieving something. So when I get a dozen emails or messages in the morning from students of mine who are telling me how incredibly well they're doing, and I see that in the community, then to me that's an achievement, because maybe they probably wouldn't be there unless we've helped them along the way. So you need to find something that gives you a sense of achievement. It doesn't have to be monetary necessarily. It could be creating something creative, beautiful, painting, sculpting, whatever, growing an amazing garden or whatever it might be. But you do need to have something that actually gives you a sense of achievement. But let's get back to the numbers, because this video is for investors and not for sort of social policy. The global robotics market is expected to reach 260 billion by 2030. And the humanoid robot market of that, well, 14 billion by 2028, growing at 40% a year. And eventually, that humanoid robot market will be bigger than the existing robot market. Because at the moment, a robot, if you go into an Amazon warehouse, they've got 750,000 robots, but they're just flat little things with wheels that pick up boxes and move them around. It's a robot of sorts, but it's not quite what we have in mind. So why does this matter so much? Because it's all about productivity. And I know it scares people, but it's important to understand that if you want to be part of the journey up rather than the journey down. According to PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, robotics and AI could pump up to 16 trillion into the global economy by 2030. That's crazy. In manufacturing alone, mechanical friends could boost productivity by 30%. It's like giving the entire industrial sector a quadruple espresso shot. There's another report that suggests that automation could show about 25% of the current workforce the door. And that's a lot of jobs, right? So we just touched upon that. For every robot added per 1,000 workers, we might also be looking at a decline in wages, 0.4% or so, and 0.2% drop in the employment to population ratio. So there is a silver lining, apparently. Now, the World Economic Forum, not exactly my favorite people, but they predict that the robotics industry could actually create 97 million jobs. And you should always believe the World Economic Forum. They really have your best interest at heart. Yeah, so where would these jobs be created? Robot manufacturing, programming, maintenance, robot-human collaboration. Although, of course, a lot of those jobs are eventually going to be done by robots. You're going to have robots making robots. You're going to have robots training robots. You're going to have robots writing code to make better robots. So I don't really believe the World Economic Forum on this front. So we need a huge shift in education. The education system needs to be massively overhauled because people are being trained for the wrong jobs. The education system we have stems from the Prussian system. I'm German originally, and it teaches you to be a factory worker. That's why we sit like this, right? It's just to put us in the mindset where we can endure endless monotonous tasks and answer to whoever is our supervisor. Now, this is all going to go out of the window. So there is a huge challenge ahead of us here, and we need to figure out how we distribute the gains from that productivity boom while ensuring that, well, everybody benefits from this. Will everybody benefit from this? I doubt it, to be honest with you. I think overall the quality of life will improve, but a lot of people will get very frustrated unless they find an outlet that gives them satisfaction. But if you look back at history, we faced tech revolutions before and we have come out stronger in the long haul. It's just in the short term, you create some unhappy people, right? Think when they're close to the mines or that kind of thing. A lot of people just got unemployed and they stayed unemployed for the rest of their life and probably became alcoholics and became very frustrated. But profit drive and capitalism will always push innovation forward. It'll just happen. And we can just do our best to be prepared for it. And that's really what I'm hoping to achieve here. So how can we make money out of this? Because if you make money out of this, you'll be in a better position to do whatever you want in life. You can also help other people if you have more money and you have more time. So what's the return on investment for Tesla here, on the ROI? Well, say an Optimus works 20 hours a day at basically minimum wage. It could generate something like $109,000 per year in income. If the Optimus costs initially $70,000 to $80,000 and later $30,000, well, you can see it would pay itself off even at the higher price in 10 months. That's a pretty insane ROI. And by 2030, we could see humanoid robots in up to 10% of homes in developed countries. So in the US, that could be 30 million units. Now, they're going to need power, right? Say they consume 100 watts on average, we're looking at an annual energy consumption equivalent to about 80,000 households. And they also need aluminium, they need steel, they need rare earths, they need all sorts of stuff to be built. So if you connect all the dots to Tesla's stock price, well, in our last video, we said there's a potential target here of $2,000 by the end of the decade, based on the potential of robo-taxis alone. But if you account for the success of Optimus, we're looking at a price target surpassing our original 10x bullish scenario. Of course, all these projections come with a big if, right? We're talking about overcoming tech and economic and social challenges, and to predict what's happening in 6 or 7 years is a little challenging. But you see, Tesla actually only has to pull off one of these feats. Energy, self-driving robots, just one of them, and they're good. Pull off 2 or 3 of them, and you're going to get to levels that are extraordinary. So how can you position yourself from it? Honestly, I just discovered that better than any business I've ever done, better than any job I've ever had, making my money work for me is the real ticket to freedom. And that's why I do what I do, because I think people need to learn this. Our education system is a scandal with regards to money and finances. Learn how to spot the breakouts. Go to felixprehn.org/get-free. I'll teach it to you there. And if you want to learn a bit further as well, I'll show you what options you have in that video as well. And if you master that, you'll be much, much better set up for whatever is coming. May it be great, wonderful, scary, whatever it might be the future. And you'll be able to look after yourself and your loved ones, your family. And if you got some value out of this video, well, share it with a friend. I hope to see you on the next one. What if I told you that a giant tech stock is being called dead money? And now that very same stock is quite possibly the golden ticket to a fantastic year ahead for your portfolio. That's exactly what just happened to Amazon. Wells Fargo downgraded the stock and says,